Hello everyone, and welcome to this video. I'm sorry that there haven't been videos recently. I've been away a lot and circumstances don't always permit it. But welcome to this one, and we're going to go to the Gospel of Luke this morning. And what I wanted to say is, how prepared do we think we are? You know, when you look at the internet, you look around and you've got so many, oh, this is the answer, this is the prophetic word we need, this is the game changer, we're going to change the world, we're going to change our nation. Okay. And I want to tell you the story of some guys who also thought they were going to change things, because I have a feeling that things aren't going to work out exactly as we may think. And the thing is, you know, we need to be prepared. Prepared for what? You know, you've got people who are saying that, oh, you know, we're going to be wiped out by some cataclysmic event. There'll be wars, there'll be all kinds of wars, there will be world wars, you know, there will be drought, devastation, and the rest of it. Undoubtedly, at some point they will. But what the Lord is saying to us at this time, I think, is infinitely more precious if we want to listen. And what I didn't understand this week was why I kept receiving the part in the gospel where Jesus has tried to teach the disciples. He's been trying to teach us as well, I strongly suspect. And he's on the point of being betrayed, on the point of going to the crucifixion. And what of the disciples, the boys actually, who are going to change the world, who are going to turn the world absolutely upside down? And I really believe so will we. But we're maybe not as far advanced as we think we might be. Now, remember that before all of this happens, they've been arguing about who is the greatest. And they've been told that it doesn't work that way in Jesus' kingdom. And then he's given Simon Peter a warning about being sifted. But you know, Peter thinks he's okay, and the other guys think that they're okay. They can't imagine what is likely to happen. And then he says to them, well, when I sent you out before, which is suggesting there's going to be another sending out, you see, and I sent you out without the money bag, without the rucksack, without the sandals, did you lack anything? And they said, no, absolutely nothing. It went well. Jesus was pleased with them. And then Jesus oddly says to them, but now there's a change of scenario. If you've got a money bag, take it with you this time. If you have a rucksack, take it. And if you haven't got a sword, sell your garment and buy one. Oh, and this is probably interesting for the guys who are going to change the world. Because remember, they're thinking that Jesus is going to overthrow the Romans and set up his own government. You know, of course we wouldn't think like that, would we? Yes, we would. That's the problem. And then he says, but all of the things spoken about me have an end. And the disciples helpfully say, but look, Lord, it's great. We've got two swords. And Jesus, the tone isn't actually described in whatever translation you have. But I wonder what he's thinking when he says, it is enough. You know, we've got two swords. It's fine. You know, we went out to the sword shop earlier. We thought these would come in handy. And they obviously haven't got a clue what is going to happen. And they think they're prepared. They're getting ready. And of course, later on, you get the prayer in Gethsemane, and they've picked up by then something's wrong, because it says that while Jesus is praying and the angel has to come and strengthen him and Jesus' sweat has become blood, it says that the disciples have gone to sleep, and it says that they're sleeping from sorrow. Perhaps they're beginning to think it's not actually going to be the way they think, and they're walking straight into what has got to be the most terrible story of betrayal ever in Judas Iscariot. And you know what? He'd been with them. He'd been with them all along, hadn't he? And he thought he was going to change the world as well, except his destiny turned out to be something different. And what happens then? They're still into this story of the swords. Well, we've been to the sword shop. What, you know, we're going to be ready. And of course, when Jesus is being arrested, what happens there? If you look at Luke and verse 49, when those around him, finally they wake up and they see what's going to happen. They say, Lord, shall we strike them with the sword? And one of them, it doesn't say who, struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear. And we know that the man is healed. I suppose it wasn't his fault. He was the servant of the high priest. But these are going to be the guys that are going to change the world. But there's a warning here that the atmosphere is going to change. And all of this week, it's been worrying me. Do I actually say anything about these verses in Luke where Jesus has to say to the disciples, okay, you've got two swords. That's enough. End of story. You obviously are not going to get it at this point. The atmosphere is changing again. And they will come out of the circumstances that they are in. And perhaps they'll have a sword at some point, but certainly they're not going to use it in the way that they think they're going to. Things are not going to be as we think they are going to be. And he says, permit even this and permit even this. It's like there are things we are going to have to permit. The Lord's been saying to me all of this week, let it go, permit this. Don't try and fight back. Just permit it, let it be, let it go out of your hands. Let the old season slip away, and we will be game changers. We will be those who overturn many, many systems in this world. But there's a stage before that, and maybe we will be tempted to pick up the sword and attack, maybe with our words, and we know that many will actually go to war over it. But I feel that the Lord is saying, just wait and let it go. Be prepared to let the old season go. And Lord, I pray for anyone listening to this, because I know that there have been so many things going around. It's a very strange season, actually, to navigate. And the Lord is saying, look, you were okay before. That was like the practice run, if you like, the disciples when they'd gone around healing. And the people were healed. Judas presumably did as well. They all did. But Peter thinks he's okay. They think they're okay. They go to the sword shop. We're ready. We think, we're ready. And then they begin to pick up. Maybe everything is not as they had thought. We need to as well. But let it go. And where Jesus says, permit even this, permit it. Just let it go. And that's how I think we will learn to use the sword of our mouth, the sword of prophecy, for those of you who's speaking out already in the realms of the prophetic. There's a change coming in the spiritual atmosphere, but it's one of where we might think we understand. Jesus knows that one day we will. But be prepared for some big changes, and be prepared as well for maybe all of your ideas just to be taken away by the waters of the Spirit. When the truth comes, we really will, for that end time harvest, be those who overturn this world, like the revolutionaries that those first apostles became. But of course, that was afterwards. And when Peter was restored, when Judas sadly has done his work, and some things need to happen as well before that. So maybe it sounds a bit strange to you, but I just wanted to share what the Lord's been saying to me for about the last 5 or 6 days. Okay? Be blessed. Amen.